CaneSport TV, it's Gary Ferman and Izubee Charles here, and we just left the Jay Lucas press conference here at the University of Miami and thought we would do a quick instant reaction video for you guys. Very impressed. He's a very impressive young coach, and typically in these type of situations, you would look for a veteran, experienced guy, somebody who has been through the wars in college basketball, had several years under their belt as a head coach. But you know what? College basketball has changed, and talked a little bit to Jim Larinaga about that. You guys can see that story up on the website. And being young might not be such a bad thing in this day and age of college basketball, where you have to do so much recruiting and sometimes replacing 2/3 of your team in a single calendar year. And while we're seeing a lot of that with football, they've gone from recruiting 20, 25 players a year to recruiting 40 players a year. And it's no different here in basketball, where Jay Lucas is going to come in here. The transfer portal is going to open in 2 weeks, and he might be looking to sign as many as 13 players. So, Zuby, you're a young guy, so you were waving the pom-poms over there at the press conference that there's a nice, young, impressive head coach here at the University of Miami. Your thoughts on Jay Lucas and his introduction?
Yeah, like you mentioned, obviously with a school like Miami, you want to bring a established coach. But I do think in this day and age of the NIL, the Wild Wild West, bringing a guy like Jay Lucas that's recruited at programs like Duke and Kentucky and a lot of other blue bloods is perfect for an up and rising program like Miami. Obviously, a few years ago, we're in the Final Four, but times are changed. That's a big reason why Coach L stepped down. So bringing some fresh young blood like Coach Jay Lucas that can connect with younger recruits, knows the game of NIL, and how he mentioned, he was in the transfer portal before the transfer portal was the thing, so he knows how to navigate things like that. So I think it's a home run hire for the Canes after hearing Coach Jay Lucas speak today for sure.
Yeah, that was a funny line he had. He had been in the transfer portal before the transfer portal even existed, so he's certainly got the foundation to go out and recruit here now in a couple weeks. And right now he's meeting with the current players and making decisions on their futures. We do not expect many of them to be retained, if any at all, to be totally honest. This is the harsh part of the business, but he's going to want to bring in his own guys with his own style of play, and he knows what he's looking for. He made that very clear at the press conference. Now, recruiting-wise, everybody wants to know about the Boozer twins. He recruited them to Duke. Obviously, they are elite players from the Miami area. They are presently committed to Duke and planning to begin attending Duke this summer. But we have from strong source that their high school coach, Moran, is very likely going to be part of this Jay Lucas staff as it comes together here over the next week. Coach Moran was at the press conference today. And there is no question, there's no point in dancing around the bush, so to speak. There is no question that there is going to be a conversation with the Boozer twins and their family about them staying home at Miami as opposed to going to Duke. We can't predict how that's going to go. It's obviously a very big situation. NBA scouts have told me that Cameron Boozer is literally the best player in the country. So this is no small situation. You're talking about massive NIL implications, big investment, both on the part of the Boozers to potentially come to Miami, but on the part of Miami to the Boozers. It's would probably be the biggest NIL deal in university history. Certainly right there with what the Carson Beck deal was to football. So that's going to be something we're going to be watching really, really big here in the coming days. And obviously there's going to be a ton of recruiting coverage that we're going to have here when the portal opens in a couple weeks. We actually are already talking to some guys that we think are going to be in the portal that might be candidates for Miami. So we'll be bringing you that coverage here in the coming days as well. But Izubee, if we were going to sum this whole thing up, let's be honest, it's a big gamble for Miami. When the University of Miami has taken a head coach in the past that did not have head coaching experience, it has not gone well. I think back, if you want to keep it to basketball, Frank Haith was a very similar hire to Jay Lucas. He was a young coach, was considered one of the top couple recruiters in the country. They gave him the head coaching opportunity here at Miami, and he was not able to take it and run with it. It did not go very well at all. Jay Lucas, when you listen to him, he clearly understands what he has in front of him. He says all of the right things. He unquestionably has a chance, but you do have to respect the enormity of what this job is when you are competing year after year in the ACC, and the type of teams that you need to be able to put together to be competitive in that league. And it's going to be a big job for him. But like everybody else here in the 305, we obviously wish him well, and we will be here to support him and cover him to the max for you guys. And Izubee, what's your final take?
Yeah, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the Boozer twins. Obviously, he mentioned how the state of Florida is rising in basketball talent. Obviously, we know South Florida for their speed, football, baseball a little bit. But he did highlight the 2026 class and obviously saying, hey, we need to keep players home. And a lot of players, obviously he wasn't talking directly about the Boozer twins, but saying, hey, you can come to Miami, you can find success, you can be developed. And he talked about the Boozer twins and potentially Coach Moran joining the staff. I feel like that would make a lot of sense for those guys. Local guys won 4 straight championships at Columbus. Why not stay home? Why not play with your former high school head coach? Why not play with the guy that recruited you to Duke? And obviously that would involve a lot of NL and a lot of moving pieces, but nothing's confirmed there yet. But absolutely love, like you mentioned, Coach Lucas is saying all the right things. Comes from a basketball family. His dad was a longtime NBA player, a longtime coach. So you have those pedigrees, and then learning under like guys like you mentioned, Rick Barnes, John Sire, Duke, Coach Calipari, Kentucky. He's been around a lot of great basketball minds, and obviously he's helped orchestrate Duke defense. And I spoke with some of the Miami players, and they said that was the best defense they faced in college basketball. He just made that clear. Defense wins championships, and having a defensive-minded coach, you always see at the end of the year, it's the top defensive teams. It's not the teams that can score a million points. It's the teams that can keep people under 60 points. He's coming from that great background. He's saying he wants guys that can guard multiple positions. So just excited to see how he builds this roster and orchestrates it, and obviously how he attacks the recruiting show as well, which we'll find out as the transfer portal opens too. So excited about the Jay Lucas era in Miami for sure.
Yeah, and I'll just add real quick before we go that I had a really good interview with Jim Larinaga. He's doing well in retirement. Encourage you guys to check that out. And he's excited to see Jay Lucas try to carry the basketball, so to speak, foundation that Jim Larinaga laid out here at Miami. So for Izubee Charles, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you enjoy our coverage, and we'll see you next time, everybody.